There were a lot of questions and discussions about whether the president acted illegally, which I believe he did, by having the IRS give subsidies to millions of people when the law says it can't. And that was the discussion. Does the law mean what it actually says, or does it mean what the president wishes it says?
Yeah, that's a darn good question, and the man who just asked it is with us, Senator John Barrasso, doctor, former orthopedic surgeon, 24 years, chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee, Senate Armed Services and Energy and Natural Resources Committee member as well. Senator, you were in the courtroom yesterday when the oral arguments were being made. I know it's dangerous to speculate, but what was your impression? Let's start with how your case, the side that you're on, saying that this is illegal, how was that presented in your view?
Well, thanks so much, Steve, for having me. You know, we talked about what the law actually says, and the opposition side says that there'd be a lot of problems for people if they lose the insurance premiums, the subsidies that the president, I believe, gave them illegally. And that seemed to be the strongest argument on the other side, is that people would be left in the lurch. Well, I will tell you, the Republican Senate and House are working to make sure that there's protection for people, but not protection from this law. You've seen it. The president has tried to bend and twist, and I believe has broken the law. And that's what the Supreme Court is going to rule probably in about 3 months from now.
Right, and I want to get to your plan. I know that you and Senators Hatch and Lamar Alexander co-wrote this piece for the Washington Post with your plan a few days ago. But let me ask you, you bring up the argument of the other side, and I couldn't agree with you more. But what concerns me, again, it's dangerous to speculate, two things. Justice Kennedy, I believe, actually said that. Actually kind of said that all hell's going to break loose with these people if this goes away, these subsidies. So how did you interpret that? Is that a reason for concern?
Well, you just never know what the Supreme Court is going to do. I don't think any of us predicted correctly what the court was going to do last time when you look at how they ruled with relation to the individual mandate and then the option side for Medicaid expansion. So you just never know what they're going to do. It was pretty obvious from the fact that Ruth Bader Ginsburg immediately went after my side of the argument within about 10 seconds of the opening statements by Mr. Carvin to ask if they had standing. I mean, she seemed to want to throw him off of his of his efforts to present the legalities of the case. So I believe that the administration is even trying to weigh in the Supreme Court by making an argument about the potential damage that has been done or will be done.
And of course, Justice Roberts, from what I understand, who was the surprise last time around, unfortunately, basically was silent.
Yeah, he didn't tip his hand in any way. Didn't really ask questions. He gave both sides longer than expected to present and discuss their cases. In both cases, it was supposed to be 30 minutes and 30 minutes, and I think the whole thing went almost an hour and a half, so it went long, and people had a lot of questions. But you could see the justices battling side to side with the questioning as it was being conducted.
All right, now, your plan. First of all, how would these people who get kicked off of the plan, what would they do? You say we have a plan for that. Talk about the plan for fixing health care instead of Obamacare as it exists now, and the more immediate question, if the court rules in your favor and what I believe my favor and the country's favor, what happens to those people?
The health care law as passed and signed by President Obama cannot be fixed. It needs to be repealed and replaced. What we're trying to do is provide a temporary transition for people that have been receiving subsidies, have insurance now through that, to transition them away from Obamacare and to more local control of those decisions back home at the level of the state, with the freedom and flexibility to choose insurance that works for them, not what the president has mandated. These mandates with these what they call essential health benefits, I call them excessive health benefits as a doctor who's looked closely at this. The mandates from the president are they have to buy a lot of insurance, much of which they don't need, want, or can afford. So if we can allow people to choose what's best for them and their families, rather than what the president says they have to have, I think it will help lower the cost of care, and we will provide temporarily this transition to get to that for those people who've been receiving subsidies.
Yeah, well, I think obviously you're doing that right now, but that's a very important message to get out to the public and to the media, who, of course, are on the side of Obama. Let me ask you, I mean, in the next 2 years, do you fear that things will only get worse? I mean, now we have the president going after a certain ammunition by executive order. We hear that the president, and I don't even understand this, by executive order wants to increase taxes. I don't even know how that's possible. But then again, I don't know how half the things he does is possible. Is there any way to rein him in? Because so far, you guys haven't been able to.
Well, and this issue with the illegal immigration, where he wants to use, well, I guess, what is it called, prosecutorial discretion on 5 million people. And the concern, I mean, the real concern, Steve, long-term for our nation is when a president acts in a lawless manner, as I believe President Obama has been doing, what's to stop another president from with a different viewpoint from choosing to not do anything with even collecting taxes? So you say, well, no, we're not going to go after these 5 million people where a family didn't pay, whether it's capital gains taxes, whether it's inheritance taxes, you name it. I mean, the president, I believe, is setting very dangerous precedents for the country by his illegal actions with executive actions and what they call presidential memorandum.
Well, Senator, with all, and we only have a minute, with all due respect, and I'm not picking on you, but in your position as chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee, I want to just ask you this question. There are two remedies that you guys have. One is the power of the purse, which, again, with all due respect, doesn't look like your leadership has the guts to do, and because they just caved, in my view, on Homeland Security funding. And the other is impeachment. And that's not going to happen either. So if your constitutional remedies aren't being used, then how are you going to stop them?
You actually plan to go ahead and pass specific appropriations bills through all the committees and on the floor of the Senate, and that's the way you use the power of the purse against this president. The courts have ruled that the president's actions on immigration are illegal.
Right.
I think that's going to take a long time through the courts. Whenever we can get the president to court so far, we tend to win. We won on recess appointments.
Yep.
We won on some of his EPA, energy regulations.
Senator,
item after item, we win.
Yep. Well, keep up the good work, sir. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
The panel's next, folks. Don't go away.